Welcome to Steel Curtains Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down in your right hand corner. It would be muchly appreciated. Uh, Trying to grow the channel, and this is where we stick to the facts here on this channel. We don't tend to run with clickbait or false stories. So, trying to build a healthy channel of Steelers fans. Thank you for my followers. Please hit the likes and subscribes. It's very important to grow the channel. Tell your friends, family, and share it. Um, Again, please, if you could, we need to get the numbers up, way up. All right, let's talk about it. Yesterday, I would have had this done sooner, but I also do two other podcasts, and unfortunately, the program was running slow in building the video, so I had to do it this morning. We're going to talk about the 13-6 victory, as we state about our victory yesterday against the Broncos. Um, yes, thank God we got the victory. There were some positives, negatives. Let's talk about it. I see, like the title says, I see major concerns coming. Being the revelation, which I figured along all the way. I'll tell you right now, if you're a fan of the Steelers, of course, I adore this team, but it's exactly where I feel it is. Their steak pieces kind of going, I don't know, they're not as effective. There's areas that where we have missing pieces. And yes, we're 2-0 on top of the AFC North. You better celebrate now, fans, Steelers fans, because it's about to change. When we play the Chargers, I expect us to actually get our tushes kicked pretty good, because the Chargers are an up and coming team, very talented, a lot of weapons on their offense. I don't know, don't I'm not under the belief our defense can handle that. I believe our offense has probably even bigger problems with just not enough targets. And we've had the luxury of very much, if you take this 13-6 victory, it's not anything to get all berserk about for us. We should have done better, to be quite frank. We've played two teams that are low, very low in the league's um, standings, will be. They are lower echelon teams with the Falcons and the Broncos. The Falcons might be slightly better than the Broncos, but this was a missed opportunity. And if we're just barely beating lower echelon teams, that tells you we got trouble on the way. And like I say, the Chargers have a good, solid team all the way around, and we're going to be exposed because some of these two games are show did highlight our weaknesses. Now, in saying that, I have to say I'm very pleasantly pleased with Fields. He's played responsible football. He's kind of been one of our biggest weapons offensively so far. Kind of the bright spots. Harris doing quite well, pounding out those hard yards. I like the mix of the. I do like the mix. However, I see a massive problem of us coming up with plays to capitalize on on scoring opportunities. One touchdown. There's no, the way we started off moving the ball very well against the Broncos, and we should have utterly, if we were playing properly, we should have actually destroyed the Broncos. So 13-6 victory is not a positive for me. I am not impressed whatsoever. The ball was moving quite well. Our, we were moving the strings up the field quite well, the ropes, and you see the turning point was Broderick Jones, 3 penalties. I don't know what's wrong with the kid. Love this kid. He looked so much better last year. I don't know what's in his game and what he's got going on mentally, but we did have momentum, and I think that we would have done much better. But we're undisciplined. Far too many. This is 2 games now that I've seen far too many penalties and opportunities that when we did move the ball, drastically taken away from our opportunities. I mean, you look at that long pass, that play. There was a massive pass that um, Pickett Pickens, sorry, caught the ball and it gets taken back because of a penalty. A wasted play. It showed that there was some chemistry there between Fields and Pickens for sure. But you can't. We don't have the weapons to waste opportunities like that. We just don't. Still say, I stand by it firmly. We need another receiver that is upper echelons. Pickens looks good. Problem is, everybody's, he's not your normally your long distance type of wide receiver. He's usually good for the slants and stuff like that more so. So we got to get somebody because it's evident you can jam up our offense just by double coverage on Pickens and you take him out of the game. That takes any opportunity out of the game. Now for Justin Fields, I see good growing maturity there. No mistakes, playing very responsible. That is a great step forward for Fields. Um, I'm quite impressed with that from him because we know of his previous issues. I think he's moving in the right direction. He's shown responsibility. Our play calling is going to have to improve off on our offensive side of the ball. Um, yes, Art Smith. I liked his mixture of run pass, but you got to move the chains more. I'm sorry. We're playing lower class teams those first two games, and I don't care what anyone says. These are teams that are, Falcons are starting to finally build their team up, but they're still in the bottom of the barrel. Broncos, same thing. They're way at the bottom, and we can't muster up half decent points against these teams. We got an offensive problem. You can shut down, and it's because we need another wide receiver. You got to have another weapon out there for Fields to go to. Fields has been actually, oddly enough, probably one of our best weapons with his running game. Oh, he's just beautiful to watch, his explosiveness. He's got to still keep an eye on holding the ball too long. He got sacked once there that he could have released that ball much sooner. He held on to it a little long, but his decision making overall was quite well. He was one of the bright spots. Pickens was a bright spot. Um, Broderick Drones. This was such a promising pick for us, and I don't know what's wrong with the guy. But yeah, I think the Steelers are going to have to make a statement and work with this guy because I don't think he should be in the games right now. His head's not in the game. He doesn't seem to know how to play the game without taking penalties, and it's costing us. We got other guys doing it too, but not to the degree that Broderick did it yesterday. It was just he really that was the turning point in the game. We had our wheels rolling. We were moving the chains quite well, and when Broderick took those three uh, back-to-back penalties, you and good move on the Steelers for taking them out. Problem was that you could see the momentum change, the movement. It shut down, and the progressive movement where we were really rolling. There can be a momentum build one way or the other, and it totally deflated the offense with those penalties. And the guys got to wake up. This is going to be something that Tomlin has to focus on. We got to stop taking so many penalties. We're shooting ourselves in the foot. And if you're playing a team like the Chargers, who I would say is an upper echelon team on the rise, I expect us to get destroyed. To be quite frank, I don't see. I still see the same problems in even in our defense in the midfield area, um, to uh, long down the field as well, even in our secondary. But more so, our secondary is a little better than our midfield. Our midfield, like our linebacker crew, I'm not overly impressed right now with what I'm seeing. Just sorry. I was expecting, from the way they built up these players that they went out and got. I don't see it. I see a lot of missed coverage, and we're we're now going to show because it's been exposed by these lower rated teams. Sorry to say that, because I love my Steelers. But like I told you, they're going to be last place in the North, and I don't care. Watching some of the results when you got Cincy pushing the Super Bowl champs to the bitter end by a point, the Chiefs win that game with their kicker. If the Bengals are competing at that level, we know the Ravens are good. They're just underachieving for some reason, but that won't last after two games they should have won. Um, that won't last. You will see Harbaugh put that team with his coaching capabilities because he's does a wonderful job with that unit, and they are so superiorly talented. Though, don't you worry, they're going to be moving up, and it won't take them long. Take them a little longer than the Browns. The Browns will tie us probably next week in our division, where it'll be two teams with 2-1, and you will see. I believe you will see the Ravens and the Bengals win their first game. So it won't be long before everybody in their division catches us. This team has got problems. It's got them on both sides of the board. Special teams, I'm getting a little tired of this. I don't care how quick you are. I believe it's Austin the third that's taking the punt returns. He doesn't have to run every time. If the situation doesn't, he just doesn't. For me, his decision making is poor. And I think that special teams unit, whoever's coaching it, needs to work on that. He's got to start making better decisions. I've seen this in both games now. He just always wants to run with the ball instead of realizing if his fielding isn't good to don't bother. I mean, I've seen him covered so well yesterday and him run a ball anyway. He just wants to take off with it. Sorry, there's times, man, you've got the coverage on you is too good, and his deciding plays, his IQ needs work. It's not good, and that's going to cost us eventually. Um, I mean, we could be starting at a better position on the field if he would stop doing that. Again, something's got to give. I've said it all along. I'm so Ayuk wasn't my first choice, but he was my first choice with after we missed a couple of players that we should have went after earlier as wide receivers. He became my choice, and we missed that train with the 49ers signing him. Now, I do think we did what we could, and he made a decision he wanted to stay put. But you got to look for somebody because everybody spoke. All you got to do is double team Pickens, and you've got this offense shut down as far as the passing game. It's taken away. I like our running game. It's not bad, but it's got to do better, though. There's got to be some improvement there as well. I mean, I like what Harris is doing, and Warren, I can definitely see it's more or less his injury because he did do all right on a couple runs, but not the way I want it to see. I think Fields has been our best weapon as an alternate to Harris in that department. He's a great weapon to have that, but we got to start utilizing that luxury of that talent to start making some different plays. There's got to be a little bit more creativity, and we need. I don't care if this team wants to stay put. You should be looking for that number one wide receiver now, and you can make your decision whether it's him or Pickens who's number one. Doesn't matter. You're going to have two guys that you can at least turn to on the field that you spread out, and the opposition then has to work harder because right now they're just really covering Pickens well, and Pickens has had some explosive plays. Of course, penalties affected that and brought us back. So for me, Steelers got to find out what's wrong with Broderick Jones. I don't think I would play him until you get this fixed. He was much more impressive last year. He's just awful right now. I don't know what's wrong with the kid, but they need to fix it because he was supposed to be a super talent. Something's definitely wrong in his mindset. Maybe he needs a coach for his mind. Like a psychological coach. Maybe there's something there that needs to be snapped, and he needs some help with snapping it. Something's going on with the kid. But overall, and the stupid snaps, thank God it's not happening continually, but it's rearing its ugly head up in each game periodically. This lack of communication between the center and the quarterback, snapping that ball and making a play. And thank God Warren's bailed them out of that yesterday when it happened and it hit Fields in the face with a bad snap. Just good reaction for Warren, but it cost us in moving the ball. So with that being said, there's a thank God for Boswell. He's been probably between him and Fields. They've been out for the offense, getting us points or moving things. They've been the brighter spots, and Pickens has been well as well. But other than that, and it's nice. I still say you got to utilize Fryer more than you are. Um, just not enough utilization, movement, pass, spreading the ball around. Because you're going to have to spread that ball around. You just can't always use Pickens. But we got to start moving the chains. And if this team can't move the chains, we're going to be a very at the very bottom of this league in the group of them, the teams, because teams are improving around us. We see it all the time. Like the AFC, we're not going to do well with a lot. We got some tough games coming. And the Chargers at the beginning of that. Uh, you're going to start seeing us slide because these two teams, we should have really moved the chains a whole lot more. We should have had a much bigger outcome, on the scoreboard. And I'm very concerned we're relying on Boswell too much. And you got to be able to get more than just one touchdown. So, and I don't blame it solely on Fields because I think Fields is doing quite well, um, being responsible. And when you see gets an opening, he does utilize it. I just don't think there's enough openings. I don't think players are creating enough spreads between them and their defenders. And I think that's lack of talent level as well. That's why we do need to address. If we really want to compete to be in the playoffs, you better be making your move now to find a wide receiver to adjust, help that. And the defense, I don't know what Tomlin's got to do back there, but to me, this defense, thank God for Watt. Although I found him, he's always the guy he does make the right plays at big plays at the right time. He always seems to know when to, but I didn't see him as effective yesterday as he was in the first game, and that's to be understood. It can't be all on T.J. Watt. Just can't be. I wasn't overly impressed with Hayward's game, which I found week one he was much better. Um, Highsmith's kind of showed up more, but he's got to watch the penalties. So he looked a little better, making impact this week compared to the first week. But penalties, and they're dumb penalties we're taking. This has got to change for the Steelers to utilize anything. But I am convinced. Celebrate now, Steelers Nation, because I think you're going to be seeing what I'm saying. There's missing ingredients on this team and gelling that needs to happen. And you just can't keep going forward. Our offense has some big issues of moving that ball down the field, capitalizing, especially red zone, seems to be a huge problem for us. Um, that's got to change, and that's really what I'm saying. Why we need a wide receiver that's a upper echelon wide receiver. Otherwise, we're going to be in the basement very soon. You can cheer our. You better cheer the Steelers on now while they're 2-0 because we won't be in front of this division, the top team, for long. You'll start seeing it to shift next week. Again, I am impressed though with Fields. I think he's learning and becoming a different player. So thank you for watching. You've seen it here on Steel Curtain. We'll be back to you after next week's game and review that game against the Chargers. I'm fearful that, as I say, put it down on your calendar. What I said, we're going to get destroyed in that game. Great quarterback, great weapons on offense, great defense. They're a well balanced young team on the rise. So thank you for joining me. Tell your friends and family. Share the video. Please hit the likes and subscribe. We need to move this channel forward. God bless you. Catch you in the next game. Go Steelers, go.